So now starting with endocrinology MCQs. Now this MCQ PDF has got at least 560 MCQs, so it's not possible for me to go through all of them. It will take a lot of time. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to discuss 10 MCQs from each sub topic, like anti-pituitary हो गया, thyroid, diabetes, corticosteroids, then estrogens, contraceptives, all these things. Then along with the video, I'm also going to upload the PDF of this file as a Google link in the description. I'm also uploading the PDF of all the files, all the MCQ files in every video. So all the students are requested to please go to the description of that particular video and download the file from the Google link, and then you can solve them by yourselves. Till now I was uploading a file with answers which were highlighted, but now because of request from some students, I'm going to upload two files, one with the answers and one without answers. So you can download both of them. First you do your own and then you can check with the answers, right? So now starting with the first. 50-year-old male presents with progressive areal enlargement, facial changes, joint pain, headache, visual disturbances. Lab test reveal elevated growth hormone and insulin-like growth factor 1. What is the drug of choice in managing this condition? Very simple question. The options that are given are somatostatin analogs, D2 agonist, GH receptor antagonist, and IGF-1 analogs. The answer here is somatostatin analogs. As we know, this is a patient of acromegaly, and in acromegaly there is an increased growth hormone secretion, mostly because of pituitary adenoma. So we give somatostatin analogs like octreotide and lanreotide, right? Lanreotide, and these are the first line drugs. They inhibit the growth hormone secretion effectively, leading to symptoms control and reduction in the IGF-1 levels also. A 40-year-old male with progressive areal enlargement and elevated level of growth hormone and insulin-like is being treated with octreotide. For which condition are we using octreotide? We are using it for acromegaly. Which drug is not used in the management of acromegaly? Now we have answers here as pegvisomant, octreotide, cabergoline and sermorelin. Now acromegaly के treatment में pegvisomant is used, octreotide is used, cabergoline is used. Sermorelin is actually a growth hormone releasing hormone analog. ठीक है, ये जो है growth hormone releasing hormone analog है. It increases growth hormone secretion, so it is contraindicated in acromegaly. It will worsen the condition. Pegvisomant is a GH receptor antagonist. Octreotide is a somatostatin analog. Cabergoline is a dopamine agonist. So these drugs can be used in the treatment of acromegaly. A 44-year-old man with acromegaly is experiencing reduced growth hormone effect through a growth hormone receptor antagonist. Now growth hormone receptor antagonist here is pegvisomant. A 32-year-old woman with prolactinoma is being treated to normalize her serum prolactin levels and reduce the tuber size. Okay, prolactinoma है इस patient को. Which medication is preferred due to its superior efficacy and fewer side effects? So that is cabergoline. Cabergoline is a D2 receptor agonist and it is the drug of choice for prolactinoma. इसकी half life is more than 60 hours. So it suppresses the prolactin secretion. It also reduces the tumor size and is better tolerated than bromocriptine. A 34-year-old woman with elevated prolactin level is prescribed a medication known for its high selectivity for dopamine receptors and fewer side effects. Elevated prolactin levels हैं, high selectivity for dopamine D2 receptors हैं. So what is this medication? The options are cabergoline, dopamine, bromocriptine and clomiphene. So now the drug here is cabergoline. Cabergoline is highly selective for dopamine D2 receptors, making it effective in lowering the prolactin levels. It has a better side effect profile and is more longer duration acting. An 8-year-old girl with central precocious puberty is being treated with the nasal spray medication. What is the name of this? So nasal spray यहाँ पे हम देते हैं, precocious puberty है तो हमें basically reduce करनी है, तो हम यहाँ पे देते हैं long acting GnRH agonist. It is administered as a nasal spray. This is neferelin. and what will it do? It will suppress the release of gonadotropin. It will arrest the premature sexual development. A 32-year-old male with hypogonadotropic hypogonadism is starting on HCG therapy. What is the initial recommended dose and therapy? Now, initial recommended dose is 1500 to 2000 international unit 3 times per week. That is the dose. HCG, what will it do? It will increase the secretion of testosterone, right? And the dose of 1500 to 2000 international unit 3 times weekly is standard for initiating. The most common side effect of gonadotropin therapy in males. The most common side effect of gonadotropin therapy is gynecomastia in males, that is enlargement of breast tissue. Match the following hypothalamic hormones with their corresponding chemical nature. Now question बड़ा ही वैसा है, INICT टाइप्स मैचिंग करना है इसमें. So the first is thyrotropin releasing hormone, right? Thyrotropin releasing hormone, corticotropin releasing hormone, gonadotropin releasing hormone, prolactin release inhibitory, growth hormone releasing and somatostatin. So now अब सबसे पहले तो देखते हैं जो हमें आता है ना. तो हमें आता है क्या? प्रोलैक्टिन रिलीज इनहिबिटरी हार्मोन. क्या होता है? डोपामिन. ये हमें आता है डेफिनेटली. दैट मीन्स डी इज़ मैचिंग विथ 3. तो डी इज़ मैचिंग विथ 3 के 2 ऑप्शंस हैं यहाँ पे, ठीक है. अब 2 ऑप्शंस में से अब और देखते हैं, अब और क्या क्या आता है हमें. ट्राईपेप्टाइड. ट्राईपेप्टाइड जो है, ये जो ट्राईपेप्टाइड है ये TH से रिलेटेड है, क्योंकि क्या है, TH अपना थायरोट्रोपिन रिलीजिंग हार्मोन, बेसिकली उसमें वो इट इज़ अ ट्राईपेप्टाइड. ये इट इज़ अ गैस वर्क. मैं ऐसे कोई इसमें दावा नहीं कर रही कि मुझे पता है. गैस इसलिए कर रही हूँ क्योंकि हमारे पास ट्राइएडोथायरोनिन होता है, टेट्राइडोथायरोनिन होता है. हाउएवर दैट इज़ अ वेरी वेग मेथड ऑफ गेसिंग, ठीक है. तो इसलिए मैंने गेस किया कि ए के साथ 6, तो ए के साथ 6 जा रहा है, तो वो इस ऑप्शन में जा रहा है, ए के साथ 6. फिर बी के साथ 5. अब इसमें देखा है बी कॉर्टिकोट्रोपिन रिलीजिंग हार्मोन पेप्टाइड होता है. सी के साथ 4 गोनाडोट्रोपिन रिलीजिंग हार्मोन डेकापेप्टाइड है. ई के साथ 2 ग्रोथ हार्मोन रिलीजिंग हार्मोन पेप्टाइड है. और एफ के साथ 1 सोमेटोस्टैटिन पेप्टाइड है. तो फिर इस तरीके के क्वेश्चंस में आपको ये देखना है कि आपको कौन सा आंसर आता है और उस आंसर को फिर आप कर सकते हो क्या. द फॉलोइंग हाइपोथैलेमिक रेगुलेटरी हार्मोन इज नॉट अ पेप्टाइड. नॉट अ पेप्टाइड. अभी हमने देखा प्रोलैक्टिन रिलीज इनहिबिटरी हार्मोन. इट इज़ नॉट अ पेप्टाइड, इट इज़ इन फैक्ट डोपामिन, राइट. तो ये 10 क्वेश्चंस थे हमारे एंटीरियर पिट्यूटरी हार्मोन से. नाउ वी स्टार्ट विद द थायराइड हार्मोन्स एंड थायराइड इनहिबिटर्स. A 55-year-old female patient with a history of hypothyroidism presents to emergency department with worsening mental status, hypothermia, respiratory depression. Physical examination reveals hypotension and bradycardia. Lab tests show severe hyponatremia and hypoglycemia. Patient is diagnosed with myxedema coma. What a simple question. मतलब इतनी लंबी कहानी लिखी है. उनका मेन उद्देश्य है इतनी लंबी कहानी लिख के लोगों को कंफ्यूज करना, लेकिन आपको कंफ्यूज नहीं होना है. हाइपोथायरॉयडिज्म का पेशेंट है, इमरजेंसी में आया है विद हाइपोथर्मिया, रेस्पिरेटरी डिप्रेशन, हाइपोटेंशन, ब्रैडिकार्डिया, हाइपोनेट्रीमिया एंड हाइपोग्लाइसीमिया. पेशेंट मिक्सडीमा कोमा है. तो इसमें आप क्या दोगे? यू विल गिव लीवोथायरोक्सिन. ऑल्दो दे से दैट लियोथायरोनिन इज़ मोर इफेक्टिव, बट लियोथायरोनिन नहीं देना है. अगर ऑप्शन में लियोथायरोनिन है, सो अंडरस्टैंड इट कॉजेज कार्डियक अरिथमियाज. So that is why it is not preferable to give liothyronin. You start with levothyroxine only. It is preferred because it produces or provides a more stable and sustained hormone effect as compared to liothyronin, which can cause complications. A 40-year-old woman with autoimmune thyroiditis presents with fatigue, weight gain, cold intolerance. Lab tests show elevated TSH, low free Ta4. ठीक है, elevated TSH है और low T4 है. मतलब इसमें पेशेंट को बेसिकली हाइपोथायरॉयडिज्म जैसी कंडीशन है. कंसिडरिंग हर क्लिनिकल प्रेजेंटेशन, विच मेडिकेशन इज मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट? हार्मोन रिप्लेसमेंट. सो हियर अगेन वी गिव लेवोथायरोक्सिन. नाउ दिस इज ऑटो इम्यून थायरोडाइटिस, मतलब हाशीमोटोस है ना. हाशीमोटोस थायरोडाइटिस है एंड इट बेसिकली अगेन यहाँ पे यू हैव टू गिव T4 एंड डोज इज टू बी टेलर्ड. A 32-year-old pregnant woman with hyperthyroidism is treated with propylthiouracil. What is a key safety concern associated with this medication? Now, propylthiouracil is used in the management of hyperthyroidism. It is effective in inhibiting the thyroid hormone synthesis. They inhibit the thyroid peroxidase enzyme. It also inhibits the peripheral conversion, right? Peripheral conversion of T4 to T3 is inhibited, and its use is limited by hepatotoxicity that it produces, which can be fatal. So due to this risk, PTU is reserved for specific situations like first trimester of pregnancy or where methimazole is contraindicated. A 30-year-old woman in a third month of pregnancy is diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. Which medication is considered the drug of choice? Now, third month means it is first trimester. So first trimester of pregnancy means you have to give propylthiouracil here. This is the drug which is preferred over methimazole because it crosses placenta to a lesser extent and minimizes the risk of teratogenicity. Reduced teratogenicity is there. Okay? Like aplasia cutis and choanal atresia, which is associated with methimazole. After first trimester, however, you shift, remember this, after first trimester, shift to methimazole because then this propylthiouracil has a tendency to cause hepatotoxicity. Next, a 40-year-old patient with hyperthyroidism is on antithyroid. A patient with hyperthyroidism has been on an antithyroid medication for 4 weeks, presents with fever and sore throat. Lab tests reveal an absolute neutrophil count per microliter of blood. Which of the following antithyroid medication is likely to be associated with this clinical picture? Now, it is the patient is having antithyroid medication and having उसका जो neutrophil count है वो कम हो गया, तो ये है methimazole. Methimazole is the culprit here. Why? Because methimazole is known to cause agranulocytosis, right? And that is the complication which we are seeing here. A 30-year-old woman in her 8th month of pregnancy is diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. Which medication is considered the drug of choice for managing hyperthyroidism in this woman? So 8th month of pregnancy में अब hyperthyroidism में क्या दोगे? सीधे सीधे methimazole पर टिक करना है, कोई propylthiouracil कुछ नहीं. A 45-year-old man presents with symptoms like significant weight loss despite increased appetite, palpitations, tremors and intolerance to heat. On examination, he has a diffusely enlarged thyroid gland and noticeable protrusion of the eyes. So this is basically hyperthyroidism. Laboratory tests show elevated free T4 and suppressed TSH. So which medication is the drug of choice in management of this patient? So in this, methimazole is the drug of choice, the preferred first line therapy. The patient is having Graves' disease, due to which he has exophthalmos also. And in this, methimazole is important because it is safe and it is more effective, right? A 28-year-old woman in her first trimester presents with symptoms of thyrotoxicosis. So first trimester है तो immediately हमें propylthiouracil की तरफ जाना है. Which radioactive iodine isotope is utilized for therapeutic purpose, including destruction of overactive thyroid and ablation of thyroid cancer? ये बड़ा पूछा जाता है, तो यहाँ पे आंसर आएगा आपका iodine 131. टाइपो थोड़ा सा हो गया है. The drug here is iodine 131. So what is the radioactive iodine that is used? What is the half-life of iodine 131, making it suitable for therapeutic use in thyroid disease? So the half-life of iodine 131 is 8 days. This is something factual. You need to learn this. Now, which of the following statement is false? यहाँ पे क्या है? Is false regarding the use of radioactive iodine. Iodine 131 is used for treating hyperthyroidism, thyroid cancer, metastatic disease. Iodine 131 emits both beta particles and gamma rays. क्वेश्चन क्या पूछा है? फॉल्स क्या है? आयोडीन 131 यूज टू ट्रीट हाइपरथायरॉयडिज्म, ये सही है. आयोडीन 131 emits both beta particles and gamma rays. Okay. It has no surgical risk injury to parathyroid glands or laryngeal nerves. ठीक है. It is highly effective for permanent cure to hyperthyroidism. Right. Effective treatment of hypothyroidism results in transient hypothyroidism rather than permanent hypothyroidism. तो दिस स्टेटमेंट ये जो है ये मेरे हिसाब से गलत है, फॉल्स है, क्योंकि it causes permanent hypothyroidism. It does not cause transient hypothyroidism. So the answer here is E. In a patient with Graves' disease scheduled for thyroidectomy, iodine is administered for 10 days just before the surgery. Iodine is administered, Lugol's iodine is administered to shrink the thyroid gland and reduce the vascularity. So these were the questions from thyroid gland. 10 questions. Coming to the questions on antidiabetic drugs and glucagon. Action of insulin does not include the following. Insulin क्या नहीं करती है, यहाँ पे the term is does not. So does not include, तो क्या include करती है? Facilitation of glucose transport into cells ये करती है. Facilitation of glycogen synthesis by the liver. Facilitation of gluconeogenesis by liver. Inhibition of lipolysis in adipose tissue. तो बेसिकली इंसुलिन जो है इनहिबिट करती है ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस. इसका मेन काम होता है ब्लड ग्लूकोज को कम करना. ब्लड ग्लूकोज कम करने के लिए ये करती है इंक्रीज ट्रांसपोर्ट ऑफ ग्लूकोज इनटू द सेल्स. ग्लूकोज से ग्लाइकोजन बनाना, ग्लूकोज से अमाइनो एसिड्स बनाना इनहिबिट करती है. अमाइनो एसिड से ग्लूकोज बनाने का काम इनहिबिट करती है. Glucose entry into the cells of the following organs or tissues is highly dependent on the presence of insulin. तो इस कौन से टिश्यू में इट इज़ हाईली डिपेंडेंट? इट इज़ हाईली डिपेंडेंट इन एडिपोज टिश्यू. इट इज़ द ग्लूकोज एंट्री इन लिवर, इन ब्रेन, इन आरबीसी, इन डब्ल्यूबीसी. दिस इज इंडिपेंडेंट, right? Independent of insulin, but in adipose tissue it is dependent on insulin. Choose the correct statement about action of insulin. Now correct statement about action of insulin: it favors translocation of glucose transporter from intracellular to extracellular. Yes. It enhances transcription of lipoprotein lipase. Yes. It increases production of glucokinase. Yes. All of the above. So the answer here is all of the above. Insulin favors translocation, insulin increases production of glucokinase, and it enhances transcription of lipoprotein lipase. The next, the insulin receptor is, now we know insulin receptor is, क्या ये गलत है. Insulin receptor is tyrosine protein kinase receptor. It is not a nuclear receptor. पता नहीं है कैसे गलती हुआ. So insulin receptor is a tyrosine protein kinase receptor. Alpha subunit को attach करता है and then there is a dimerization and then beta subunit then goes into lot of phosphorylation cascade. The monocomponent insulin preparation differs from conventional preparations in the following respect. Except. Again यहाँ पे जो question आ गया है that they are writing except. So monocomponent insulin preparation और conventional preparation में क्या अंतर है? They are less allergenic, definitely, because now they are developed by recombinant therapy. They cause less hypoglycemic reactions. No, because insulin तो insulin ही है, वो ultimately hypoglycemia करेगी. They cause less lipodystrophy. Yes. They are less liable to induce insulin resistance. Yes. So the answer here is they cause less hypoglycemic reactions. In diabetic patients, round-the-clock tight control of hyperglycemia is achieved by multiple daily insulin injections or insulin pumps. ठीक है. It prevents macrovascular disease more effectively. It is recommended in all type 2 diabetes patients. Is associated with higher incidence of hypoglycemic reactions. Both A and C are correct. In diabetic patients, round-the-clock control of hyperglycemia achieved by multiple daily insulin injections or insulin pumps is associated with higher incidence of hypoglycemic reactions. राउंड द क्लॉक हाइपरग्लाइसीमिया कंट्रोल अगर हम करना चाहेंगे तो फिर इससे डेफिनेटली हायर इंसिडेंस होंगे हाइपोग्लाइसेमिक रिएक्शंस के. और यहाँ पे मैक्रोवैस्कुलर नहीं, इट विल बी मोर इफेक्टिव इन माइक्रोवैस्कुलर मैनेजमेंट. In a patient of diabetes mellitus maintained on insulin therapy, administration of following drugs can vitiate glycemic control. Diabetes mellitus patient which is maintained on insulin therapy में कौन सी दवाई से glycemic control ख़राब हो सकता है? It is prednisolone. Prednisolone is a steroid, and other drugs that can affect is growth hormone, thyroxine, and diazoxide. Right? Insulin therapy is required for the following category of type 2 diabetes mellitus patient. Insulin therapy is required in which type of diabetes mellitus patients? Patients with ketoacidosis, patients undergoing surgery, pregnant diabetic, all of the above. So this is the answer. To achieve rapid control of severe ketoacidosis, the appropriate drug. Please remember, in ketoacidosis we use IV regular insulin that is used. Okay. What is the minimum fasting plasma glucose level required for diagnosis of diabetes according to American Diabetes Association? तो minimum fasting plasma glucose level, अब ये it should be a fasting plasma glucose level more than 7 millimoles is diagnostic of diabetes. So this threshold indicates persistent hyperglycemia characteristic of diabetes. Which option is incorrect for the diagnosis of diabetes? Which option is incorrect? तो पहले देखते हैं करेक्ट क्या है. Symptoms of diabetes plus random blood glucose concentration more than 11.1 millimoles, fasting plasma glucose more than 7, 2-hour plasma glucose more than 8 millimoles, and HbA1c more than 6.5. So which is incorrect here? 2-hour plasma glucose more than 8 millimoles during an oral glucose. OGTT कराने के बाद 2-hour plasma glucose level more than 11.1 millimoles होता है after OGTT. So that is diagnostic of diabetes. What is the function of pancreatic polypeptide secreted by the FPP cells? So this pancreatic polypeptide, it actually decreases the secretion of both insulin and glucagon, and it regulates the pancreas. It regulates pancreas, exocrine as well as endocrine secretions. So this is the function of pancreatic polypeptide. So these are a few 10 questions that I have done for diabetes. So now starting with the questions on corticosteroids. A 60-year-old patient with the newly diagnosed hypertension, hypokalemia, evaluated for potential mineralocorticoid excess. Now which hormone is primarily responsible for regulating sodium absorption, potassium excretion, and is considered as the principal mineralocorticoid? तो यहाँ पे प्रिंसिपल मिनरलोकॉर्टिकॉइड अपना होता है एल्डोस्टेरॉन. इट इज़ द प्रिंसिपल मिनरलोकॉर्टिकॉइड secreted by the adrenal cortex, right? It regulates the sodium reabsorption and potassium excretion and enhances it in the distal convoluted tubule of the kidney. ठीक है. Next, a 47-year-old female patient presents with clinical signs of Cushing's syndrome. Laboratory tests show elevated cortisol and ACTH levels. To differentiate between Cushing's disease and ectopic ACTH syndrome, you decide to conduct a CRH stimulation test. Which CRH preparation is used to distinguish between pituitary source of ACTH and ectopic source? तो यहाँ पे corticorelin. This is the CRH preparation which is used to test the pituitary adrenal axis. It helps in differentiating between Cushing's disease, which is a pituitary source, or an ectopic ACTH secretion by stimulating ACTH release from the pituitary. A 10-year-old child with asthma is using inhaled corticosteroids for management. The parent is concerned about possible adverse effects associated with this treatment. Which of the following is not a recognized adverse effect? तो कितने देखो स्मार्ट है. द क्वेश्चन इज नॉट. तो हम देखते हैं क्या है पहले. डज इट कॉज डिस्फोनिया? यस. डज इट कॉज कैंडिडियासिस? यस. डज इट कॉज रिस्क ऑफ ट्यूबरकुलोसिस? नो. डज इट कॉज ग्रोथ सप्रेशन? यस. सो द आंसर हियर इज इंक्रीज रिस्क ऑफ ट्यूबरकुलोसिस. नाउ हियर यू स्टूडेंट्स माइट गेट कन्फ्यूज्ड कि यार ये तो ट्यूबरकुलोसिस होगा ना, इम्यून सिस्टम डाउन होगा तो. बट देयर इज नो एविडेंस विच लिंक्स the tuberculosis to corticosteroid therapy. ठीक है. A 54-year-old patient with chronic asthma is being considered for long-term management. Physician aims to prescribe glucocorticoid that is a long duration of action to effectively control inflammation and symptoms. Which of the following medication will be appropriate for long-acting glucocorticoid therapy? तो कौन सा medication long-acting में हम दे सकते हैं? तो यहाँ पे हमको dexamethasone. So please, short-acting, intermediate acting, long acting. फिर उनका ग्लूकोकॉर्टिकॉइड एक्शन, मिनरलोकॉर्टिकॉइड एक्शन, ये जो टेबल है ग्लूकोकॉर्टिकॉइड्स कॉर्टिकोस्टेरॉइड चैप्टर में, ये आप ज़रूर से याद करके रखो. A 45-year-old patient presents with acute adrenal insufficiency requires immediate emergency treatment. The healthcare provider opts to use hydrocortisone for its efficacy in managing this critical condition. What is the appropriate dosing regimen of hydrocortisone for emergency treatment of acute adrenal insufficiency? Hydrocortisone is given 100 mg IV bolus followed by 100 mg IV every 8 hours. ठीक है, दिस इज समथिंग विच ये रट लो. मेरे टीचर्स ऐसे लिखवाते थे मुझे, रट लो, हिंदी में लिखो, वहाँ पे गड्ढा है, रट लो. ठीक है. सो हाइड्रोकॉर्टिसोन डोजेस 100 mg IV bolus followed by 100 mg IV every 8 hours. A 30-year-old pregnant woman at 28 weeks of gestation is showing definitive signs of premature labor. The physician decides to administer antenatal glucocorticoids to reduce the risk of neonatal complications. सो 30-year-old वुमेन है, 28 वीक्स ऑफ जेस्टेशन पे, प्रीमेच्योर लेबर है. फिजिशियन जो है एंटीनेटल ग्लूकोकॉर्टिकॉइड्स देता है ताकि कॉम्प्लिकेशंस नहीं रहे. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग ग्लूकोकॉर्टिकॉइड रेजिमेन इज़ नॉट रिकमेंडेड फॉर एंटीनेटल यूज़? यहाँ पे अगेन द क्वेश्चन इज़ नॉट, कौन सी रेजिम नहीं देनी है. तो पहले देखते हैं कौन सी दे सकते हैं. तो कौन सी दे सकते हैं हम? तो बेटामेथासोन दिया है 12 mg, डेक्सामेथासोन, प्रेडनिसोलोन, बेटामेथासोन 12 mg IM every 24 hours, every 24 2 doses this. यहाँ पे what is not given? We give beta, we give dexa, we don't give prednisolone. Prednisolone is not suitable for antenatal use as it is metabolized by placenta and it causes fetal exposure. Sorry, it reduces fetal exposure because it is metabolized by placenta. So इसलिए prednisolone is not preferred. Betamethasone, dexamethasone are preferred because they cross the placenta effectively and they also increase the lung maturation. So इसलिए dexamethasone and betamethasone are given. A pregnant woman at 27 weeks of gestation is experiencing preterm labor and is considered for glucocorticoid therapy to improve the neonatal outcomes. ठीक है, which is the statement is incorrect. तो अगेन यहाँ पे द क्वेश्चन इज इनकरेक्ट. सो अ सेकेंड कोर्स ऑफ ग्लूकोकॉर्टिकॉइड्स मे बी एडमिनिस्टर्ड इफ प्रीटर्म लेबर परसिस्ट आफ्टर 7 days. Antenatal glucocorticoids are administered to reduce the risk of respiratory distress syndrome and neonatal death. Dexamethasone is given as a single dose of 2 mg IM. Both beta and dex are effective in decreasing the neonatal mortality associated with preterm death. यहाँ पे preterm birth, यहाँ पे डेक्सामेथासोन इज नॉट गिवन एज अ सिंगल डोज ऑफ 2 mg. आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हो डेक्सामेथासोन इज गिवन 6 mg 12 hours for 4 doses. So this is the question which is incorrect. Among the following compounds, which one exhibits the least mineralocorticoid activity? लीस्ट, ये वही है टेबल, आपको याद रखना ज़रूरी है. लीस्ट मिनरलोकॉर्टिकॉइड एक्टिविटी प्रेडनिसोलोन, मिथाइल प्रेडनिसोलोन, डेफ्लाजोकॉर्ट एंड डीऑक्सीकॉर्टिकोस्टेरॉन. सो डेफ्लाजोकॉर्ट इज़ द ग्लूकोकॉर्टिकॉइड बेसिकली विद minimum mineralocorticoid activity, making it suitable for conditions where sodium fluid retention are undesirable. Prednisolone, methylprednisolone have got a good mineralocorticoid activity. Deoxycorticosterone has got the highest mineralocorticoid activity. Among the following compounds, which one exhibits the least glucocorticoid activity? सबसे कम glucocorticoid activity डेक्सा, बीटा, ट्राइमसिनोलोन, हाइड्रोकॉर्टिसोन. तो यहाँ पे हमें पता है हाइड्रोकॉर्टिसोन हैज़ गॉट द लीस्ट mineralocorticoid activity. डेक्सा, बीटा and ट्राइमसिनोलोन, they have got really good mineralocorticoid activity, right? हाइड्रोकॉर्टिसोन, इसका जो देखा गया है ग्लूकोकॉर्टिकॉइड मिनरलोकॉर्टिकॉइड एक्टिविटीज़ 1:1, वाइल डेक्सा एंड बीटामेथासोन का जो एक्टिविटी है वो 25 times मोर पोटेंट है. ये 1 है बस. ओके. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टीरॉइड्स हैज़ अ हाफ लाइफ ऑफ लेस देन 12 hours? Steroid having a half life of less than 12 hours is hydrocortisone. It has a biological half life of less than 12 hours. So it is a short acting glucocorticoid, right? A 2-year-old child presents to the emergency department with ambiguous genitalia, lethargy and vomiting. Blood test reveals serum potassium of 6.8, serum sodium of 116 and low blood pressure. Which therapy is the most appropriate for this patient? So a 2-year-old child presents with genitalia lethargian vomiting. ब्लड टेस्ट में सीरम सोडियम उसका बहुत बढ़ा हुआ है, सीरम पोटेशियम बढ़ा हुआ है, सोडियम कम है, बीपी कम है. तो यहाँ पे आप क्या दोगे उसको? You will give hydrocortisone. Now the child most probably is a case of congenital adrenal hyperplasia, which requires immediate glucocorticoid replacement. So hydrocortisone is the drug of choice for glucocorticoid replacement. ठीक है. So these are some questions of corticosteroids that we have done. Now coming to the questions related to androgens, estrogens, progesterone. A 62-year-old male presents with recurrent UTI infections, difficulty in urinating and a history of BHP. ठीक है, तो पेशेंट को यहाँ पे BHP है. The healthcare provider explains that these symptoms are related to prostate enlargement driven by increased level of most potent androgen. Which is the most potent androgen? Testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, androstenedione and dihydroepiandrosterone. इस सब में DHT, dihydrotestosterone, is the most potent androgen. It is derived from testosterone by the enzyme by the action of 5-alpha reductase enzyme. ठीक है, in target tissues. This DHT binds more avidly to the androgen receptors than testosterone. ठीक है, so this is the most potent. A 52-year-old male is evaluated for prostate enlargement and urinary retention. Suggests a treatment that inhibits conversion of testosterone to more potent androgen, the enzyme responsible as 5-alpha reductase. A 48-year-old female patient diagnosed with estrogen receptor positive breast cancer. So here it is estrogen receptor positive breast cancer patient. The oncologist recommends treatment that inhibits conversion of androgens to estrogen in peripheral tissues. Okay, now peripheral tissues में the conversion of androgens to estrogen is mediated by aromatase enzyme. It is not 5-alpha reductase, not 21-hydroxylase. It is aromatase. Aromatase is responsible for converting androgens into estrogens in the peripheral tissues. And aromatase inhibitors में हमने नाम पढ़ा है anastrozole. Anastrozole is used in ER-positive breast cancer. A 60-year-old postmenopausal woman with estrogen receptor positive breast cancer started on aromatase inhibitor. What is the mechanism of action of aromatase inhibitor? They prevent the conversion of androgens to estrogens. A 32-year-old male is prescribed finasteride for male pattern baldness. Finasteride क्या होता है? Finasteride is 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. है ना? Finasteride is 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. A 60-year-old male with benign prostatic hyperplasia is prescribed finasteride. Mechanism of action of finasteride is blocks the conversion of testosterone to dihydrotestosterone. A 62-year-old male with metastatic prostate cancer prescribed flutamide along with GnRH agonist. तो बेसिकली ये क्या दिया है यहाँ पे? GnRH agonist दिया, साथ में flutamide which is an androgen receptor antagonist. Now flutamide is basically a non-steroidal androgen receptor blocker, so it will block the receptor and increase the LH secretion by preventing the androgen binding to receptor, and so increases LH secretion by inhibiting the feedback mechanism. A 60-year-old male with erectile dysfunction is prescribed a medication that inhibits the enzyme for breaking down cyclic GMP, thereby enhancing nitric oxide effect on smooth muscle relaxation. So which drug is most likely prescribed for this patient? इरेक्टाइल डिस्फंक्शन का पेशेंट है, एक मेडिकेशन दिया गया जो कि उस एंजाइम को इनहिबिट करती है जो कि साइक्लिक जीएमपी को ब्रेक डाउन करता है, जिससे कि नाइट्रिक ऑक्साइड का इफेक्ट जो स्मूथ मसल रिलैक्सेशन में वो बढ़ जाता है. वो ड्रग है फिनेस्टराइड नहीं. फिनेस्टराइड इज 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. फ्लूटामाइड इज एंड्रोजन रिसेप्टर ब्लॉकर. ल्यूप्रोलाइड यहाँ पे नहीं दे सकते हैं. यहाँ पे द आंसर इज सिल्डेनाफिल. दिस इज अ PDE5 inhibitor. ठीक है. इट एनहांसेस द इफेक्ट ऑफ नाइट्रिक ऑक्साइड बाय प्रिवेंटिंग साइक्लिक GMP breakdown. A 58-year-old male with erectile dysfunction is being considered for treatment with PDE5 inhibitor. Which condition is a contraindication for the use of PDE5 inhibitor? Contraindication for the use of PDE5 inhibitor is coronary artery disease. ठीक है. Coronary artery disease में sildenafil PDE5 inhibitors are contraindicated in patients who are already taking nitrates. This is also very important because it causes severe hypotension and then can potentially result in cardiovascular event. A 52-year-old male with erectile dysfunction not responding to PD5 inhibitors is considered for an alternative treatment. The healthcare provider decides on a drug that can be administered either via injection directly into corpus cavernosum. Which drug is that? That is alprostadil. Alprostadil is a prostaglandin E1 analog injected directly into the corpus cavernosum, resulting in smooth muscle relaxation, vasodilatation, and erection. It is used when PD5 inhibitors fail. Coming to the estrogens, progestins, and contraceptives, a 52-year-old postmenopausal woman with complaints of hot flushes, night sweat, depression, sleeplessness, and vaginal dryness is advised. A 52-year-old postmenopausal woman presents with complaints of hot flushes, night sweat, depression, sleeplessness, vaginal dryness. She is advised hormone replacement therapy with the most potent form of estrogen. Which should be used? Which of the following is the most potent form? The most potent form of estrogen is estradiol. It is produced primarily by the ovaries and it is synthesized from the testosterone via aromatization also. Which of the following is not a naturally occurring estrogen in the human body? Naturally occurring estrogen is ethinyl estradiol. A 30-year-old woman comes to clinic for preconception counseling. Then which of the following is the primary estrogen produced during pregnancy? That is estriol. I'll do this fast. A 50-year-old woman with severe menopausal symptoms considering HRT. HRT का patient है. Which of the following statements in the context of HRT is false? Reversal of osteoporosis with HRT is substantial. This is false. Then the estrogen most commonly used for HRT in menopausal women is conjugated estrogens. The daily dose of estrogens for HRT in postmenopausal women is lower than that for contraceptions. The compound which is used for hormone replacement therapy serves the purpose of both estrogen and progesterone, that is tibolone. Tibolone is also actually called as steri. Steri is the word which is used for tibolone. Select the correct statement about tibolone. Tibolone is estrogenic plus progestational steroid used in postmenopausal women. Estrogens are palliative in folic malignancy. Carcinoma prostate में palliative होते हैं. Unique property of SERMs is that they act as agonist in some and act as antagonist in others. In women of childbearing age, clomiphene citrate produces following actions except. So in women of childbearing age, they produce clomiphene citrate, produce following actions except decreasing FSH and LH. Now coming to the questions, not an oxytocic. Yes. So coming to the uterine stimulants and relaxants, which of the following is not an oxytocic? The question here is not. Which is not an oxytocic? Oxytocin is, ergometrin is, prostaglandin is, orsiprenalin is not. It is orsiprenalin is beta adrenergic agonist and it is a uterine relaxant and not a oxytocic agent. Then the tissue which is most sensitive to oxytocin is myoepithelium of mammary alveoli, which is helpful in the milk ejection reflex. Oxytocin is essential for milk ejection reflex. Drug of choice for controlling postpartum hemorrhage. Postpartum hemorrhage control करने के लिए what is the drug of choice? Oxytocin, methylergometrin, diargometrin and prostaglandin E2. तो first सबसे पहले हम oxytocin देते हैं. Ergometrin stops the postpartum hemorrhage by increasing the tone of uterine muscles. The drug that is used to suppress the labor is done by Ritotrin, right? So these are some questions on the uterine stimulants and relaxants. Then we have some questions now on the calcium. A 45-year-old woman is brought to the emergency department with muscle cramp, carpopedal spasm, numbness, and physical examination reveals a positive Chos-Tech sign and Trozo sign. Laboratory tests show low serum. So what is the most appropriate immediate treatment? Here you have to start with IV calcium gluconate is the preferred treatment. It raises calcium levels, alleviating symptoms like tetany and spasms. A 38-year-old woman with celiac disease presents to the clinic with complaint of fatigue and bone pain. Despite adhering to a strict gluten-free diet, her symptoms have not improved, which is the least likely to interfere with her calcium absorption. So the answer here is thiazide diuretics. In which of the following scenarios are calcium salts not indicated? Calcium salts are not indicated when the patient is a known case of renal calculus. A 70-year-old woman with a 70-year-old woman with severe osteoporosis started on anabolic therapy with teriparatide. After 2 years of therapy, the doctor discusses the need to discontinue due to a black box warning. What is the primary concern? The primary concern is that there is an increased risk of osteosarcoma with teriparatide. So teriparatide has got a black box warning that says that there is an increased risk of osteocarcinoma. Okay? So these are some questions on the calcium metabolism also.